Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Instant Ramen Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and with me is our co-host, Juan's wife. I'm like so used to calling you fiance. It's still weird. Wife, Sierra.
Even though I was only a fiance for like 10 months.
Yeah, but it was while you were living with me. Like,
I guess that's
the
true.
entire course of you living with me was you were the fiance of Juan.
That's
But
very
anyways,
true.
things are different. Things are better now.
Yeah,
Now that we don't live together.
Now we're recording in the room that I slept in.
It's true. And today we're talking about Girls' Last Tour, which is a show that was around a couple of years ago. It aired in 2017, and we didn't watch it. we watched I watched the first few episodes.
Yeah, I did too.
And then slept on it, which is fine.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
I slept on it for 2 years.
Just as a heads up, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. Find out why later. How have you been, Sierra? What's new? How long has it been since you've been on here?
Let's see. The last time I was on here, what was the last time I was on?
I don't know. What did we talk about?
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
I don't know. We just such good homies. We don't really talk about.
This is gonna bug me that I can't remember what it was.
I feel like every time that you listen to our episodes, you always remember that shit. But then when you're on the spot, now you don't remember. That's the way it always goes, though. Like we did trivia last week. That's something that we were both up to.
Yeah.
We did a little trivia night. And as soon as we got close to it, I was like, oh no, I just remembered. I do fucking horrible under pressure. I stress out so much, and I always like second guess myself, and I'm so bad at it. I shouldn't have agreed to do this. And then I started thinking, I'm like, but who gives a fuck anyways? It'll be fun. It was all right. I fucked with a couple of your answers that I sincerely regret, but whatever.
Oh, well. Well, because I was telling Juan, I was like, having Trip and Eliza there, it'll be great because then if I'm second guessing myself, then I'll talk through it with them and then they'll like help me get to the right answer.
Yeah. Which didn't work. And so we were like, that's fucking dumb. Didn't even help out when you were right. So whatever. One of the ones that you were right about, which is the last float on Thanksgiving Day, the Macy's parade. Did not know what the last float was. And you guessed it. And we were like, ha, good one. Just move past it. But you weren't sure of yourself.
No, I wasn't 100% sure. But
man, because the reasoning behind it is exactly why it's the last float. It's Santa Claus, by the way. Just so anyone wasn't sure, it's Santa Claus.
Spoilers!
Yeah, blew me away. Never would have thought. But I also felt like I really earned my keep by getting one question right. Like I got a bunch right, but I was the only one to get one right, and Eliza was the only one to get another one right. So I'm like, all right, we both did okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, felt good.
Yeah, and then we also saw Knives Out.
We saw Knives Out. A review of Knives Out. It was good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Because like the week before we saw Jojo Rabbit, and I like both, but I think Knives Out was a little bit more my pace.
I like Jojo Rabbit more, but Knives Out was really good. And my thing with Knives Out, my actual review of it, which doesn't make any fucking sense unless you know me, is I wish it was Wes Anderson. Because it was so fucking close to a Wes Anderson movie. It had like zany characters, a wild plot, an insane setting, and like some interesting kinds of like scenes, I guess. It very much could have been Wes Anderson and a little bit goofier and a little bit more eccentric in certain ways, but a little more artistic. But instead, we got what we got, which was a really, really good movie.
It was great.
That would have been better if it was Wes Anderson. Which I've never reviewed anything that way. Never reviewed anything. But I just felt like it hit a lot of the right points for me in a different way than other movies that only Wes Anderson has kind of done for me. So that's why I'm like, oh man, that would be dope. It was good. Everyone should go see it. It's a very, very fun mystery, like murder mystery movie.
Just go for the donut bit.
It was good. Go for the donut bit. That's all you need to do. Go for the donut bit. enjoy Chris Evans being a shitty person and a good person.
Yeah.
He's great.
And Jamie Lee Curtis being a shitty person.
Oh, man.
And
Love me. And don't even get me started on the rest of the cast. Literally all of it was great. Fantastic movie. Everyone go see it.
Yeah, they had a lot of like big stars in that because they had Jamie Lee Curtis.
Was a big name, yeah.
They had what's his name? What's his
Daniel
name?
Craig?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say Chris Daniels. I was like, that's not his name. Daniel Craig.
I forget the dude's name. It's like Lakeith or something like that. Is that his name?
I
don't know. Whatever.
And then they also had the main girl character from 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, that's why she was so familiar. I was like, I don't know what she's from, but she's in a big thing. And so was the boy.
Yeah, he played the older brother in It.
Yeah, he totally did. He was Bill.
Yeah, Bill, that's the name.
I was like, why is this guy
Stutter Boy?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out where he was from. Like,
Stutter
I
Boy
know
turned
him.
Nazi Boy.
But he also, he was only in the movie for like a minute.
Yeah.
I felt like they severely underutilized him, but good movie. Toni Collette. Ugh, she's like my favorite actress, but yeah, it was good. It was fucking good. And then it was also Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You had a bigger Thanksgiving than I did.
Ugh, yes.
How was it? How did it go?
Well, because the Saturday before Thanksgiving, we had a Thanksgiving dinner with my mom at my house. So we had some prime rib.
Nice.
And mashed potatoes. Mm-hmm. And I made some cheesy asparagus, and so that's what we had. And we played a little game. We played categories.
Nice, always fun.
So that was Thanksgiving with my mom. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday we had Thanksgiving with my dad because he was leaving for Thanksgiving, and then my sister, brother-in-law, and their kids, they were leaving to go down south to visit his family for Thanksgiving. So almost everyone in my family, like, we're gonna be gone. And so, yeah, we celebrated that. We had traditional Thanksgiving, except instead of turkey, we had ham because my dad prefers making ham over turkey, but
whatever.
But yeah, so then we celebrated Thanksgiving at my dad's on Sunday, and then on actual Thanksgiving Day, I had to work.
Yay.
Woo! And the reason why I had to work is because I let my interns not work that day.
Hell yeah. You're like, everyone go home, be good. I already did my Thanksgiving. I'm good.
Yeah. But then that turned into a little bit of disaster because my fucking work truck decided not to work. And so I was like stranded at one of our ranches for like 2.5 hours before one of the ranch guys came over. He's like, yeah, your truck's not drivable. I was like, thank you for taking 2.5 hours to tell me that. And so then I called Juan. Juan came pick me up from the ranch, and then we went back home, and then we chilled out at the house for a little bit, and then we went over to Juan's parents' house, and we had ceviche and tostadas.
Hell yeah.
Just had a chilled time.
It sounds like a good end of a weird day.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely would not repeat the first part of that day ever again.
No, that sounds shitty.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was all right. Tried out a new Brussels sprouts recipe.
Oh.
And I fucked up a little bit, but it was still delicious. So essentially, we were trying to time everything right. Couldn't all come out at the same time.
It's so hard to time everything on Thanksgiving because there's just so many dishes.
So,
and a lot of them need to be in the oven.
Yeah. So this was a huge pain in the ass. But essentially, it just wasn't... It marinated too long. It didn't need to.
So you just went mush?
It was a little bit... It wasn't just mush, but it was mushier than, Brussels sprouts should be. It wasn't... Yeah. But it was fucking delicious.
Tasted great, but consistency was a little off.
They were one of the best Brussels sprouts I ever had. If I fucked up less, it would have maybe peaked at the best Brussels sprouts I had, which I was stoked as fuck that I made it and it was that good. My dad was all about it. He was like, fuck, this is the best part.
What'd you put in it?
I made like a honey vinegar glaze thing for it, but it was a little bit too saucy for how long it sat in the bowl. So, anyways, it was delicious. Lemon zest and scallions, a little red pepper.
Nice.
Boom, good. Yeah, it was all right, I guess. And we did green beans and chicken because we're not a turkey kind of family. You know how we go.
Yeah.
Made some chickies and did scalloped potatoes again.
Nice.
I like the recipe because it cooks everything through and it tastes good, but I hate how like crazy fucking milky it is, which seems weird, but it's like it's too much and it doesn't reduce down enough, so you get too much slosh.
Yeah.
And like I tried it out initially and I'm like, maybe I fucked something up. We'll just do it the same exact way the next time because that's what the recipe calls. And maybe I fucked up something beforehand. This time it still turned out a little bit too like milky. I don't know, man, but it's still fucking delicious. So anyways, next time if I make scalloped potatoes, I'm gonna go for a different recipe.
Are you sure? Because Juan really liked that last recipe you did, though.
I know, but it was pretty fucky. It was too much milks. It spilled on Juan when we were going over to Kate's.
That's true. That's very true.
Kate and Abe's. Yeah, so that was my ish there. I don't know. I think that was pretty much all we did. We had other stuff. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Those are the highlights. The chicken.
The food.
Yeah, whatever.
The star of the day.
Afterwards, we played King of Tokyo, which is a board game that I really like. And my dad had it, and he didn't know why he had it. And I was like, because we all played it together, and we all really liked it. And he was like, I don't remember playing this. I don't think I've played this. And I'm like, you've played it. That's why you have it.
Yeah.
Like, I have it. And then my sister was like, I don't remember it, dude, but it looks pretty cool. Like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, yeah, the colors are popping. I'm kind of feeling that. So we played it. And I think it's the first time I've ever won playing it. So I felt pretty good about that. But it's kind of a game of chance, a little bit strategy, but mostly chance. Where Yahtzee rules for the dice, so you get a bunch and you re-roll.
I love Yahtzee.
So you would love King of Tokyo. You get to roll whatever you want to roll and hold a few dice behind while you re-roll the others.
Okay.
Right? So Yahtzee, right?
Yeah.
Except you have health and attacks and energy, which is like currency, as well as points. So the whole game works off of a point system. You want to get to 20 points. And you could get there through buying cards. You could get there through being in Tokyo and being everyone's target. You could get there by rolling the dice. It has a 1, 2, and 3 on one of each sides. And if you get three threes, you get 3 points. 3 twos, you get 2 points. 3 ones, you get 1 point. And any additionals, you get another point. So there are different ways to win. Everyone has a different strategy. Yeah. I've never been able to find a good one that works with the people that I'm playing with, the cards that are in play, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it worked out this time. Instead, I just went for kicking their ass. And I played it cool for a little bit, waited until they were a little bit down, and then I just started attacking while I was in Tokyo. And I'm like, heal up, you bitches. You can't get me out of here. Like, just die. And then finally it came around, and I'm like, all right, well, now I have 12 points. And I go up 2 points for being in Tokyo. I just rolled 3 threes, so I get a few points there. I'm going to do this thing, which also gives me some more points. And now I'm at 19. And if I make it to the next round, I win. Like, you can't do anything. And then I won.
Nice.
They almost had a chance. I thought my sister was going to do something really smart. But then it turns out that the thing she wanted to do says, you do this after you do everything in your turn. And she thought she could do it before then. Essentially, it was like, after you're done with everything, you could sell your cards if you need to. She's like, I was gonna sell my cards and then I was gonna buy another card and then I was gonna make you lose. I was like, fuck. Well, that could have been cool, but it wasn't, and she sucks, and I win.
Sounds like something we could maybe turn into our New Year's Eve drinking game.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. No. Is it board games too? No. I don't. No. But good effort. Juan would say that I'm cheating because I've played it and I own it and it's my game.
Have we decided what we're going to play on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, we just decided we're going to play Jackbox.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But I don't know what that's going to be. Like, for sure, New Year's, we're playing Jackbox.
Yes.
We're doing an escape room and who knows what else. But those are, I think, good go-tos. I think it's safe.
Yeah.
Maybe throw in some Smash Bros. Because you know how we did last year. So whatever. Yeah, anyways. What else have I done? It was my sister's birthday just before Thanksgiving.
Happy birthday, Emma.
She is doing great. She's back up in Oregon.
Eating them Frosty Flakes.
Hitting them Frosty Flakes real hard. Is it snowing up there?
No, because you said she's doing great.
Gotcha. Yeah. Anyways, I've been playing Pokemon a lot still. And I just saw the new Mr. Mime after all this time. It's horrific. I fucking hate it. Yeah, have you seen it?
I have not, no.
Oh, man. I'm about to ruin your whole night. It's going to be the worst thing. Essentially, he looks like Mr. Mime if Mr. Mime was like a fucked up ice version of itself. Mr. Mime Galar. It's... So they've added in old Pokemon and they've changed them to have different forms for the new games. Certain ones are pretty cool.
Just like different like skins or?
No, they're like different Pokemon entirely. Like they have different stats and abilities and different typing and whatnot. Anyways, this fucker is the new Mr. Mime, and he just looks like a little horrific kind of crow man with an ice thing on his chest. He looks like the nightmare version of the Mr. Mime that we know and love. You know?
They should have made him look exactly like a Detective Pikachu.
They should have, but they fucked up.
Yeah.
They didn't make him super great. Instead, they made him the bane of my existence. I fucking hate it. So I just got there and I stopped playing. And I don't know if I'm going to play again.
So what are your favorite names that you've named your Pokemon so far?
Oh my gosh. I don't have any favorites really. But because I've named like 150 Pokemon. So it's hard to go through everything. I would have to grab the game, honestly, because I'm not super happy with all of the names of the ones in my team, which are the ones that I remember a lot more. Like my shiny Gyarados is named God's Plan. I like that a lot. And I did a throwback. I'm pretty sure it's a throwback. I had to double check, and then I think I was wrong. But I don't know. For my Stunfisk, I named it Stepstool, which is the name of my original Stunfisk from Pokemon Black.
Oh.
Or did I play Pokemon White? I don't remember. Anyways, yeah, so I did a throwback with that, but it's the new form of it. And then everything else, I don't know. I named one of them like Juicy Jewel, and it looked like a Juicy Jewel. Let me just tell you that much. And I've got a whole bunch of goofy ass other ones. For a little while, I went for nouns, and then I switched over to like weird fake names. And I named one of mine Markle. I like Markle. Somebody asked where it came from, and I'm
Meghan
like,
Markle.
It didn't come from anything. Markle?
Yeah.
Huh?
Meghan Markle?
Who's Meghan Markle?
She just married Prince Harry.
Nah.
She's in the news
Prince
all
Harry
the time
because a bunch of kids,
because
right?
Americans hate her.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen the name. I don't care. I watch anime and play Pokemon. I don't care about the royalty in England. That's
do.
what Pokemon's for. That's for the Galar region.
That's some of
And I
the
just care about
non-anime
Leon.
I'm watching. I'm watching The Crown.
Are you?
Yeah.
How is it?
Well, right now we're on season 3. So she's kind of like midlife right now. Winston Churchill just died.
Spoilers.
And a disaster just happened in Wales where this they called it a tip, but it's basically like they were like mining on top of a mountain, and a sinkhole happened, and then the sinkhole created like this giant ass mudslide, and it basically buried a schoolhouse. And so all the children and adult teachers that were in there basically just got buried alive.
Wow, that's pretty fucked up.
Yep.
That's big fucked up.
It turned into a huge like political fiasco for her because like I guess like the prime minister at the time was telling her, he's like, I think you should go over there and like, you know, like console the people. And she's like, the Crown doesn't do that. Like,
yeah, that's not my job.
We'll write an official letter saying, you know, we extend our condolences, but I'm not going to go there or whatever kind of thing. And then but then like the prime minister went there, and Princess Margaret's husband went there, and like other people, notable people, started going there and like offering their support and stuff like that. So then she came under fire because it's like, where's the fucking queen and all this kind of thing. And so that's where I'm at right now.
Sounds wild.
It is wild. And now that she's in the middle life stages, Helena Bonham Carter plays her sister, Princess Margaret. So
Bone Carter is a crazy fucking name. Whoa. I am into that. How long has she been around in the world?
For a long ass time. She's married to Tim Burton.
I don't know these things, man. I don't give a fuck about anyone, apparently.
She played Bellatrix Lestrange in Harry Potter.
Oh, that's her. Yeah, okay,
played the meats pie lady in Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. Her.
Yeah, her.
That lady.
Yep.
She's a good actress.
She is. She's really good.
Yeah. I think that's everything that I've been up to, really. I caught up with a bunch of anime and other TV. I've been watching his Dark Materials, and I'm really liking it. They just got to the part where there's a polar bear, so, shit's about to pop off. Somebody killed themselves. I was like, oh, there we go. It was great. And Kyle and I talked about how fucking cool it would be to, like, be reincarnated into one of those fucking little demons that's connected to a person and gets to turn into different animals depending on what they want to be and, like, matching the personality. If you were reincarnated, what kind of shit would you want to be, like, reincarnated into? It's fun. It's good. It's not really a part of the show, but we were talking about that because that's a cool idea of having this, like, spirit animal companion that's, like, a physical, real thing. And it could talk to you, but it changes forms until it settles into something. It's a very cool world. It also jumps back and forth between the real world and this other world. And they go pretty hard on the, like, fantasy elements when they want to, but they pull back sometimes too, and they're like, no, we're not that fantastical, don't worry about it. Dust, man. They just keep saying dust over and over.
Dust.
They're like, yeah, I don't have dust yet, or just like that kid's got dusted, he's big duster. It's fun. I like it. It's an interesting show, and I recommend it to people with HBO. Check it out.
I don't have HBO.
Well, you should. Instead, do you have Disney Plus?
No.
What's the point? What are you doing?
Boy, I'm barely living life right now.
That's true. You're living on the edge, getting through work. Ugh.
I just want work to be over. And by over, I mean harvest.
Harvest to be over.
Yes. Yeah. Harvest season needs to end soon.
Ugh. Rough stuff. It's so suddenly we're jumping into the holidays. So we have 2 Christmas parties to go to next week, and then we'll be able to talk about those on the next episode of the podcast, or I'll be able to talk about one and Juan can talk about the other one.
Yeah, and then the greatest holiday of all, your and Kyle's birthday.
That's like further down. That's a whole other Christmas party.
You just said the holidays are coming up, so I was just
that's true. That's true.
That's one of the ones that is coming up.
I'm working that day. It's gonna be a good time, but I have that Saturday off. I think I'm probably on call.
Of course you are.
So I don't give a fuck about my birthday. Like, I forget how old I am constantly.
Juan thought he was 24.
Yeah, it's just easy to forget how old you are. I don't know why.
It's like, no, sorry, you old as fuck.
Do you feel like you're as old as you are?
No. Like you said, like, I sometimes forget how old I am also. Mm-hmm. But, like, sometimes I feel a lot younger than I am, and I forget what my actual age is. Like, oh, I forgot that I'm actually that old. And then there's sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm way older than I am.
Yeah, for me, I just constantly, this past year, I felt like I'm 28. So I always think I'm 28 when people ask how old I am. I'm 27, bro. Like, I've been 27 for the past year. I'm about to turn 28, and then I'm going to finally feel like myself until I jump forward and I'm like, I'm 30.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm for sure going to feel like I'm old. I always feel like I'm older than I am. I don't know why. I guess it's just because I'm around a lot of young people at my job. And I don't know. You're a young people.
Am
So
I?
I
Just
feel-
being a year younger than you?
Yeah, so I feel like way older. But I don't know, man.
That's okay. Eliza's older than all of us. She's like 30 something by now,
That's
right?
not true at all. She's younger than me.
It's the joke, remember? Because we call her an old
No,
lady.
She's not an old lady.
She's an old lady.
She's a nice young lady, okay?
She's an
Be
old
nice.
lady.
She's so young. She's the youngest of all of us. She's the youngest of the bidet
She's
boys.
barely legal.
About a bidet.
You did?
Big news. Big,
Yes.
huge fucking news. Totally worth it. Eliza twisted my arm until I said, fine, I'll do it. I'll fucking buy it.
Yeah,
And
it only
I
took
bought
like
it.
2 minutes of twisting.
Yeah. She was like, by the way, Brad and I got a bidet and it's totally worth it. And you guys should think about getting one. I'm like, way there. I've been thinking about it for like years because I hear people on the internet being like, yeah, bidets are totally worth it. And then other people being like, why the fuck doesn't the United States use bidets? What's wrong with everyone there? Meanwhile, I'm just like, I've never really had an opportunity. So I think that's a lot of Americans' problems is that they don't get the opportunity to try one to decide if it's worth it.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
seen or used one, so.
It's literally just something you put under your toilet seat and it shoots you in the butt. It's great.
Like,
That's
I know,
life.
I understand the concept,
Yeah.
but I've honestly never seen or used one before, so.
There's not
To me,
much
I'm
to
just
see.
like,
It's a knob.
I've lived without it this long,
Yeah.
so why would I need one?
Because it's fucking great. It works, man. It does its job. It saves you toilet paper. It does everything it's supposed to do. It's incredible. Anyways, I highly recommend it to everybody. Get a bidet. It's worth it. It
Saves
will change your
toilet
life.
paper, but technically uses more water.
It uses more water, but you use a lot of water in order to make paper.
Debatable.
Okay.
Debatable.
All right. It's cleaner as well. Anyways. Totally worth it. Changed my life. Shout outs to Eliza, my best friend in the whole world who told me how to clean my butt. So big ups. Big ups to the homie. Yeah, man. I think that's the biggest piece of news with me. Oh, and my car died and now it's working again. That's pretty cool. I'm into that.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little into it.
I was really sad. I was like, I don't know what to do because it doesn't seem like the battery's out because everything else is working great. It just won't start. And then it wound up being the battery. And he was like, your battery seems pretty all right. And then when he put a new one in there, he's like, nah, this one seems better. So thanks to shout outs to the AAA guy for helping me out. Big ups. He said to do a survey. I haven't received the survey, so this is going to be my survey. Big ups.
Big ups.
And yeah, man, I'm way into driving. So I was pretty sad that I couldn't. My job requires me to drive sometimes. Like, since I'm going to be prepping for a couple of Christmas parties.
That's true.
I've got to drive. And as soon as I told my boss, her eyes went giant. She's like, oh, fuck, how are we going to do this?
I
Just
know.
didn't what
And
to
giant
do.
eyes on that tiny little woman.
I know. It was scary. So I'm like, don't worry. I've got an appointment tomorrow. I'm going to call AAA today. It's all working out. It all worked out.
Did you text her afterward like, we good, boy?
No, it just came into the office. I'm like, fucking do it. That was my lunch today. That was my lunch. I
Oh, it happened during your lunch? Got it all done?
Yeah, I got it taken care of in my lunch. I was like, I'm going to go lunch like whenever they call me. So please don't everyone else be at lunch. Thanks. Just good luck. It worked out. It worked out really good. Just hung out in the rain while the dude was being the best and hooked me up with a fucking battery. So yeah, man, I think that's officially. I also got to. There's always something else, right? No, that's it. There's nothing.
Well, speaking of cars, is our good boy Juan drove all the way down to...
That's why he's gone.
Yeah, that's why he's gone. That's why I'm here. It's because he finally...
After years of saying every episode, hey, I've got to drive down to San Diego area with my dad.
He finally did it. And so they drove down this morning. They left at like around 3 this morning. And they got there around like 1-ish when they finally were able to like check into their hotel and all that stuff. And then Juan took a power nap. And then they went to go check out the new truck and see all the fancy shit that was all over it.
Good for him. He finally did it.
Yeah. And then they're going to sleep tonight and then leave tomorrow morning to come all the way back.
Finally. Jeez, man. I'm really happy that he finally got to go, though. And now he could stop stressing. Because I would be fucking mad if I was told, like, every week, hey, we might go to San Diego this week and you have to drive. I'll let you know when. I'll be like, no, you don't fucking do that. You tell me a date and we go that day or we don't go at all. Yeah. That's how it's going to fucking work. But it worked out. And he did it happier than I would have.
Yeah, I guess the problem was that, like, Juan's dad was, like, calling them and they kept giving him, like, the runaround.
Yeah, essentially they were just like, oh, shit, we forgot about this thing that we have to do. Oh, no, we forgot about this other thing that we have to do. And just kept
or like, oh, sorry, the person that's, like, representing you and, you know, is your, whatever, assigned person.
Yeah.
Whatever. She's on a call right now, so she'll call you as soon as, you know, she's done. And then, like, Juan's dad was like, it's been, like, 5 hours later. Like, there's no way her call lasted for 5 hours. Why had she called me?
Yeah.
And, yeah, so then, like, he was starting to freak out. Like, he's like, maybe they're, like, going out of business or going bankrupt, and they're just trying to, like, keep people at bay. He was just thinking the worst because he just wasn't getting anything out of them.
Nah, sometimes people they get too busy or whatever. Today, I had a very weird phone call where I told somebody I would call them back as soon as I got to the bottom of something. I didn't get down to the bottom of it. Let's just put it that way. So I got a call and they were like, hi, I just applied with you guys and I just wanted to check on my application. I'm like, okay, sure. What's your last name? She tells me. And then I'm looking it up. I'm like, you know, we don't have your application in our system. When did you apply? It takes a little while to come through, usually like 20, 30 minutes sometimes. And she's like, on Thursday. And I'm like, okay, hang on a second. We don't have it here. Are you sure that you applied with our property and not one of our sister properties? And she's like, no. So I went ahead and applied to you guys and I called the number that was given on the receipt. And I talked to somebody there and he told me that he couldn't find me in the system. And then he told me to call over to you. And she just kept talking at this point, like over and over and over. So I couldn't be like, okay, well, since you're not coming up in our system, I'm going to have to call the other properties and find out what happened.
Yeah.
Instead, she's like, I have the receipt number for that. And she starts just saying the receipt number. I'm like, we don't have any of that information here. I don't have your file. Yeah. If I had your name, I would have everything. I can't enter in a receipt. I can enter in your phone number and your name, which you already gave me, and I didn't find you. So then I call over to the place that she just talked to, and I was like, hey, man, would you do me a favor and look up this phone number just in case? Because I don't have access to all the other properties, and I for sure didn't send the application. He was like, oh, she said that somebody sent her an application and it had their, like, name or email written as, like, KSW or something. And I'm like, well, that's not me. I don't know who the fuck it is, but I would know what's going on. So I talked to him for a bit. He couldn't find anything out. And then I called another property that had somebody else who could look everything up. I'm like, maybe he's just not getting it. I'll call somewhere else. And then they weren't able to look it up. And I'm like, okay, well, if she's definitely not at 4 of our properties, there's a 5th one, which only the manager there has access to. But they also work at our property sometimes. So I called her up and I'm like, hey, Callie, could you help me out with this shit? Look up this person for me. She looks them up and she's like, they don't exist. They don't exist in our system. Don't know what to tell you. There's literally nothing. She has the most access other than a manager at the main office. And at this point, it's 5:30. She called at 5. I finally get down to that last call with Callie at like 5:30. And I'm like, okay, no, she doesn't get it. I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know what she did. She says that she paid the right amount of money. She clearly has a receipt and our phone numbers and like has certain information that she said. So I know that it's right. But I'm like, I don't have access to it. She didn't apply here. Not my problem. I don't know who the fuck isn't talking to her, who isn't contacting her or telling her anything, but it's not me. I'm not working tomorrow. Fuck it. I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do. So anyways, I get it when stuff like that happens. Sometimes it's just, I was so confused though. What do you do? What do you do when somebody doesn't show up anywhere? Not a single person knew what the fuck was going on. And then this lady's just like, I applied. What's going on? Like, I will for sure get down to the bottom of this. I'm like, I don't fucking know what's happening.
You're like, sorry, lady. It turns out there's no bottom.
Yeah, it turns out it just doesn't work
It's
that
an
way.
endless pit.
It's crazy. So the only thing we could do is call our main office, but they close at 5. So she called at 5. Like, sorry, man, you missed the boat on that. Anyways, I'm not working tomorrow, so if she calls back and asks about it, good luck to whoever's there. I'm not fucking dealing with it. Wild. That was the weirdest fucking thing of somebody not being in existence, but clearly having all the right information.
Yeah.
Could just be our system. And you know what? It's not our company. Get mad at the other company that fucking lost your shit. We don't do it. We go through another service.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was wild. It was fun. Highly recommend it to everyone. Just apply somewhere and get your application lost. It's a good time. You'll make the employees appreciate it. I think that's it. Do you want to say anything else before we get into the news?
So I think the only other thing is I had a fun time surprising Juan this weekend with an early Christmas gift.
Yes.
Because after Oktoberfest we went to the bars. And, we didn't go to bars. We went to a bar. We went to Bella's. And that was a place where he often went with his friend Josh and his friend Kyle. Other Kyle, not DM Kyle.
Yeah.
So then, like, he just started getting super reminiscent. He's like, I miss my boys. I miss my boys. So then it was that night that I texted both of them. I was like, hey, we need to figure out a time that I can get you both here. Hopefully both, but at least one of you here. Because Juan misses you guys. And then they're both like, we miss him too. But bunch of babies.
They are a bunch of babies. I love babies.
So then like I was talking with them periodically, and then Kyle and I finally were able to align, and he was gonna come up here to spend Thanksgiving with his family, and then I was gonna pick him up on Friday, and we were gonna surprise Juan. And like Juan had texted him, I think Thanksgiving Day, and like asked him like, hey, like what are your plans? And then Kyle was like, oh, I'm going down to Moreno Valley to hang out with my family for Thanksgiving. And Juan's like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, well, I'm heading in that direction, so maybe we'll cross paths or whatever. And Kyle's like, oh, yeah, maybe, And then, so then after I picked up Kyle and I walked into the door, I was like, hey, Juan, you ready for your Christmas gift, your early Christmas gift? Because I had told him ahead of time. I was like, oh, Christmas gift is coming early. And I was like, and it does not get better with age. So I was like, you need to open it as soon as it arrives. And he's like, okay. And so when I came home and I was like, oh, you ready for your early Christmas gift? He's like, yeah. And then Kyle walked in and he's like, oh, you fucking lied to me, to Kyle. And it was a lot of good fun. And then, Kyle stayed with us over the weekend. And then we took him back to his apartment yesterday. But it was a lot of fun. It was nice to surprise him. And,
Yeah, man, it feels good to laugh again.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. I'm so glad that he was able to come up and work everything out and make it just a good time for all the family.
Yeah.
You, Juan, the whole gang. Maybe Vela. I don't really know.
Yeah, Vela is not... She has a harder time getting used to, like, men.
Yeah.
Because, like, she'll bark at them for a little bit. She'll get used to them. And then she's just like, oh, pet me, love me, pet me, love me. And then, like, we were telling Kyle, I was like, if you go pee, you should just pee with the door open. Otherwise, because she just has, like, object permanence, just like, whoo.
Yeah.
She sees you go in there, and all of a sudden you're just gone.
Yeah.
She thinks you're out of her life. And then so, like, he would go pee, he'd close the door, and then she would forget about him, and he'd come out, and she's like, just barking at him, like, you saw him go in there, like, a minute ago.
Dogs are crazy.
And so she would sniff him, and she's like, oh, I remember you now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on, but she got over it fairly quickly. So.
Animals don't know what they're doing ever.
No.
I love them. They're the fucking worst, and they're so great.
Yep. Bella's definitely that way.
Follow Ghost Car on Instagram for some more Vela pics. All right, well, let's get into the news. I don't see a better time than now. There is an anime adaptation of Nekopara. It's going to begin broadcasting on January 9th. And the reason that I bring this up is, have you heard about it at all?
I don't think so. I think I just know another anime or something with the word Neko in it.
Okay, sure. So Nekopara is incredibly cute, very sweet, and pretty fucking ecchi too. So for TV anime though, they were like, all right, we like what you're about, but we're going to get rid of all that ecchi stuff. And we're just going to make it super cute. I'm like, what? How often does that shit happen? What? That's crazy.
Usually they do like the opposite. They're like, oh, this shit isn't ecchi enough.
We'll throw in a couple of boobs, a couple of butts, call it a day.
Several panty shots.
Give us that, like, what's the in between the socks and the skirt thigh area? What's that called? It's got a name.
I have no idea.
It's got a name. Juan, tell us the name. Go ahead. Send us an email.
Yeah. Juan's yelling at this podcast episode right now. He's knowing what the answer is.
It's called the perfect area.
Perfect area.
I don't know. It's got some stupid ass fucking name. Anime and weeb bullshit and like creepy stuff like that. I love it because it's so different than like anything else. It's so weird. Anyways, Haikyuu To The is going to be a split core show, so it's going to air in the winter season and the summer season. You get about 3 months of a break. It's doing an Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I was about to say they're pulling an Attack on Titan.
Dude, I felt that so hard when I read that. I was like, well, you know what? Season 3 was fucking great, so hopefully season 4 of Haikyuu is going to be lit as fuck. We'll see.
I don't even watch Haikyuu, and I'm annoyed that they're doing that.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but
Big
whatever.
bums.
Hey, speaking of things that you don't do, and I don't do, and Juan didn't do, because all of us fucking don't care. My Hero One's Justice. Remember the video game that came out? Well, there's a second one that is now being made, and it's going to launch in the U.S. on March 13th. Are you excited? When I heard that there was a second one, I was like, what the fuck? Why didn't they just make DLC or something? Like, nobody plays it, right?
Yeah, I don't think anyone really does, because like Juan and I played it at Anime Expo, and we're just like, you know, you're just fighting, and a lot of the camera angles were really weird for the fighting style, and I was just like, I don't like this.
Just didn't hit on the right points.
No,
it was, oh fuck, a My Hero game. This is gonna be dope. Until, yeah, it's cool that My Hero's getting a game. So maybe One's Justice 2 is gonna be better than 1.
Maybe.
Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see reviews. We'll keep an eye out. We'll let y'all know about it.
We'll give you the hot scoops.
Hell yeah. Something that you don't care about, and I don't really care about either, but I thought it was funny. Eureka 7. You know how they were making a trilogy?
Yes.
They made the first one, which was called whatever the fuck, like High Evolution, or is that what the trilogy is called? I don't know. And then they made the second one, which is an M&A, and the last one is delayed until 2021 now. So apparently they're just taking their fucking time with it. They didn't give a reason. They just said it's now delayed until 2021. Doesn't really bum me out, but I'm just like, why even? It sucks, man. Like, the first movie did not do the television show any justice out of this trilogy. Eureka 7 should have just been left alone as its own thing. They should have not made the first movie. They should have not made the continuation series AO. They should have not made this trilogy. But god damn it, I respect them for trying. They just can't fuck with perfection, man. They already had it. They fucked with it. They shouldn't have fucked with it.
They just shouldn't have made Eureka 7.
They should have never made Eureka 7.
Yeah.
But you know what they should make and are making? An Animal Crossing manga.
Oh, woo!
In December.
Oh, woo!
I was so excited to read that. I was like, what? How is this happening? Yeah, I have no idea exactly what it's going to be like, but the manga is going to be about the protagonist on an unpopulated island. So I think it's going to be essentially you getting into your game that comes out in like February or March.
Yeah.
Whenever it, yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm excited. I'm jumping on that train.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't know when we're going to get it in the US, but for sure it's coming out in December in Japan, and we could probably find something like crappily translated online. Yeah. So I was so stoked to read that.
I'm all about that. I'm excited about that.
It's fucking great. So I thought we should end on a high point for the news, and that was it. Honestly, I'm really excited. Not a whole lot of news has been going out lately, just because I feel like we're in the middle of the anime season, about to jump into the next. Now it's like episode 8 and 9 with a lot of things. So yeah. I mean, I didn't really talk about any shows that I've been watching because you've only watched Vinland Saga. Yeah. I didn't want to just spoil a ton of shit for you. I know Juan doesn't really care, and I know that you also don't really care, but like, respect, you know?
I respect your respect.
I can't tell you guys there are a bunch of good shows airing right now, and I am just as happy with everything this week as I was last week, if not more so with some. Let's just give a big shout out to the LGBTQ plus community right now for some Stars Align shit going on, because that show is dope, and they finally handled a situation that I am always curious how shows are going to handle in a way that I feel like is pretty realistic. That's my only anime talk that I really feel like I should say before we get into Girls Last Tour.
Oh,
yeah. So Girls Last Tour is a show made by White Fox. White Fox has done a lot of different things like Steins Gate, Akame ga Kill, ReZero, and Goblin Slayer.
My gosh, all of those animes like are just like huge, like kind of like a little bit more shonen and like more actiony and like heavy hitters, and this one's just like,
I know, this one's just like a slow sleeper kind of show, right?
Yeah.
And then it's directed by Ozaki Takaharu, and he has done some big things like Goblin Slayer, and that's it, honestly. That's all that I was able to find on my anime list. But he's done digital paint for Cowboy Bebop, and he's also directed. He was an episode director and a storyboarder on Goblin Slayer, and Goblin Slayer, Goblin's Crown.
That's the movie, right?
Yeah, which we don't know. So, Girls Last Tour. I've heard a lot of good things about it recently, and I think it's just a show that's for certain people. I don't know who those people are. I liked it. I didn't have a problem with the show, but I don't think I would ever recommend it to somebody unless they were looking for something incredibly specific.
Yeah, because I was telling you earlier, I was like, I didn't really know anything about it. And then my friend Emily, she said, oh, you should watch this show, Girls Last Tour.
Whoa,
and so, she recommended it to me. So I had it in my phone for a long time, and then I watched like a few episodes, and I was like, this is a little slow for like my liking, and so I kind of fell off, but I still kept like it in my phone, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll revisit it eventually. But yeah, when you said like, oh, I never would recommend it to someone, I was like, yeah, I don't know anyone who I would necessarily recommend it to either, but it got recommended to me, so
there you go. So Girls Last Tour is a show that's somewhat post-apocalyptic, more post-war.
Yeah, post-war.
But it was a war so big that nobody is alive, no animals are alive, really. So each little moment that you see a piece of what society used to be, anytime that you see somebody who is still alive now, anytime you see a little piece of what the world was, is a very exciting moment in the show. But that excitement is very downplayed because it's pretty bleak. There's not a lot going on. You've got characters that don't have like huge personalities. Yeah. It's a weird show.
Yeah. And then like all like the backgrounds and landscape are all pretty like,
it's very desolate.
Yeah. Very desolate. A lot of grays.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So like,
I really liked that about this show too,
because it made like the parts when they did have like bright colors that much more exciting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The whole show is just about these girls surviving. they're getting by finding rations at different places. Every once in a while, they'll find something alive to cook and eat. I think it's in the first or second episode, they find a fish and eat it. And they're like, what in the fuck? Is this a fucking fish? And they freak out and they eat it because they've never seen a fish before and they never tried it, but they know that they could eat it. They're going around on this. It's kind of like a
mini tank.
It's kind of a mini tank. It's kind of a little tractor.
Yeah.
It's just an all-terrain vehicle with tank tracks, essentially. So one of them is always the driver. The other one just sits in the back. They do have weapons. They don't really have a use for it, but they have them.
Chiato and Yuri.
Chiato and Yuri. Thank you.
Or Chi-chan. Yeah. Chi-chan and Yu.
Yeah. I like their names. But then as you go on and you see them kind of explore more and they run into people, it shows their interaction with them, and they are pretty like normal. They interact with each other like sisters more than anything, I would say.
Yeah.
A little bit like unhinged sisters.
That was one of the things I wasn't 100% on because like they say in the show, well, they said that they left Grandpa's house. Mm-hmm. So they're either sisters or cousins, or at least that's the way I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I was thinking they're sisters, but I was like, but then like, because like one is like black hair and one is blonde hair, mm-hmm. I was like, they could just be cousins. But
they both have freaky squished faces.
I love the structure of their faces.
The art style, the character design was different from pretty much any other show I've seen.
They just have blob heads.
I really like it. They have little blobs as heads. It works out. And then the rest of the world looks like a realistic, very like post like industrial war setting. It's interesting. They're going through a ton of factories. They're going through broken down cities. Every once in a while you'll see just an endless wasteland of just like snow Wall-E and things in the background. It's kind of like Wall-E. Less trash, but lots of rubble.
Yep.
But it's not trying to be like edgy. This show was never about being edgy. It was all about just like getting through the next day and experiencing whatever there is to experience. A lot of excitement over warm water. Yeah. You know, those kinds of things. It's all right. I don't really know where to go with this show because it's one of those like lazy kind of episodic things. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's best enjoyed in 2 or 1 setting, but you have to be in the right mood for it.
Yeah.
It's one of those hard to return to things where you just have to be like ready for it and then just soak it up in a couple of small sessions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely how I felt. Cool. Well, that was the reason why I didn't like finish it.
That's why I fell off
time.
Of it.
Yeah. It was because like I started watching it because it was recommended to me. So I was like, oh, you know, it must be something that I'm really into. And then it wasn't what I had imagined it was going to be. And then it was just the way it started off was just very
well, it's hard to tell what
very
it's about.
Simple.
Yeah.
It was so simple that I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm not sure what this is about. So then I just kind of got like a little bit bored, and then
because I think it's the first episode. They're just going along
in the dark
in the dark factory. They finally get to like the light, and they fight over a ration, which is chocolate flavored. And essentially, one of the sisters, the blonde one, she's just like threatening Chi's life.
Yeah, she's just pointing a like gun at her and like, "Don't you move!"
With her finger on the trigger. No trigger discipline for those of you gun experts out there. None at all. She was ready to fucking blow. She didn't kill her sister, and she ate the ration.
But I like how after she ate the ration, how Chi-chan just jumped on her and just started punching her in the face.
I really like that she just punches you a lot.
Yeah.
It only happens a few times, but you always deserves it.
Yes.
So it works out. And then remind me if it's this episode or the next one, but they do find hot water coming from a pipe. They see like, oh shit, these pipes are still running. The water's hot. Let's shoot it open so that we could take a bath.
Yeah.
And they do. And I was like, oh, fuck. That would be so exciting. That was like one of the most exciting parts of the whole show for me is when they were like, we got hot water, boys. Whoop, whoop. There are like a few exciting moments in the show, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a show that has more excitement than hot water, you should just skip this one. All of my compliments are character design, world building, setting, all of that stuff I really, really liked. What I didn't like was the personalities, the dialogue, and the story.
Yeah.
It's not to say that they were bad. It's just that they were lacking.
Yeah.
And I felt like the characters weren't entirely believable. You could have super zany characters like in every kind of post-apocalyptic video game there is now. You're just like, oh man, I'm on the moon and monsters have attacked and now everyone's fucking crazy. Well, this is kind of like that, except nothing's going on. And for some reason, other characters aren't like, we need to stay together. They're just like, all right, peace. And like everyone's fine with it.
Yeah.
On one hand, I liked it because I think that that's a really cool idea of it's just desolate, but we also need to stay alone. I've always really liked that. But they didn't ever show me why. So in the first character interaction, they meet a guy in the 3rd episode who's an explosions man. He can TNT up some buildings and knock them over. So he made a bridge out of a giant building. Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay, cool. We're going to threaten you. You have to come with us. And we're going across here. And then they all became friends by the end and really liked each other.
Yeah.
And he was like, here, take this camera. You can take pictures of each other. It's pretty special. And then they were like, all right, bye. And just fucking left him.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I found really weird because, like, he's one of the 2 people that they run into.
Yeah.
And you would think that after, like, you know, years of just traveling and just wandering or whatever.
Exactly.
That when you finally happen to meet someone,
if they're somebody who's not threatening, who's helpful, smart, resourceful, wouldn't you keep them around?
Yeah, you'd think that they would stick together and be like, oh, you know, like, how often am I going to have this kind of interaction again? Otherwise, especially, like, for the guy, Kanazawa, he's been alone for a long time.
Yeah.
And so you'd think that he would, I don't know, be more interested in that companionship and, like, following these girls or vice versa.
I mean, to me, it seemed like he was intrigued and did want to spend more time with them just to be around somebody. Mm-hmm. But he was a little bit standoffish for something that we don't really find out until later, I guess. Yeah. But with the girls, you was a fucking psychopath, first off.
Yes.
And that's totally fine. He still didn't really want to be around them, but also liked being around them. I feel like Chi would have been like, okay, we could have you around. You're smart. You could know more things. But maybe they're just thinking like, I wish that they had said something like, oh man, I wish we could bring him along, but it's not worth it because then we'll run out of rations and I'll starve.
Yeah.
Something like that, to where they give us a little piece of that logic. But they didn't. So I was severely disappointed when he was no longer around after one episode with him.
Yeah.
And he was interesting to me. I wanted to know his backstory. He cared so much about mapping everything.
Yeah.
That was his whole thing. And I was like, oh, fuck. I want a cartographer on this trip. That would be fucking dope.
And it disappointed me so much that they made him lose all those fucking maps. And I was like, I feel like especially after that moment, like, he would want to be with those girls like, even more. He's like, oh my gosh, like, my life's work. This is so depressing. Like, now he has nothing kind of thing. And then it just surprised me that he left after all that.
I would have liked it way more if you just see him in the background like fall off of a building or something, like he killed himself after losing everything and he gave away his camera and he's like, I have nothing, I'm done. And then you find out later on that he was traveling with a woman companion who I think that they were a couple.
Yeah, and like it.
She is no longer there when we see him. Mm-hmm. So they were a couple and something happened. So clearly he's been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And now he lost literally everything.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have added more depth if we were to see him do something like that in the background. But instead, they were just like, and he's not around anymore. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. But it was interesting. I liked that they did have him around for an episode and then got rid of him. I just feel like they did it in a bad way.
Yeah, I agree.
So then we continue on, and the girls, I don't know, the thing with this show is that there are a few key things that happen that I think are pretty good because they carry over into other episodes, and there are other things that don't matter. The interaction with Konozawa that worked out really well is he gave them a camera and they use it the rest of their trip.
Yeah.
They'll take pictures of themselves, of other things. They came into this town where there are all these statues.
Oh my god, I hated that. I was like,
weird,
not
man.
only are there like a trillion of them, but they're the like dumbest looking statues in the
really
world.
Dumb. And then you kept saying, "Hey, Chi-chan, you look like that thing."
That was funny, though.
These statues look like you. And it was weird. They came across all of them, and it didn't make much sense, but I liked that. I was like, okay, so this town has some kind of a weird history with this thing.
Yeah.
It must be significant in some way or another. And then later we kind of see how it is significant.
Yeah, we get to the temple.
Yeah. And at the temple, you could tell that there's some kind of a weird religion thing that the girls aren't aware of. We don't know much about it. We just know that it was a place of worship, and they figured that out.
Yeah, because I mean, like, yeah, we don't really know because they don't really know. Like,
exactly.
There's some things that, like, we know because we live in a modern world,
yep.
but they don't know because they live in a post-war apocalyptic kind of world.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, like for instance, she's like, oh, I think this is where like they worship God or gods, and then you was like, what is a god? And she's like, I don't know.
It's just what they worship.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I just know that they worship gods. I have no idea what a god is, what it stands for, or anything like that.
And I really liked that it shows our characters don't know these things, that there's more for them to learn. Mm-hmm. And then we also get to see them fucking around with the camera and figuring out, oh, there's a timer on it. And as viewers, we're like, yeah, it's a timer. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's fucking funny to see one of them be like, oh, I know what this does. And the other one really wants to know. She's just like, no, I'm not going to tell you. Fuck you. Until they set it up for a picture with them together, which I thought was pretty cute. They were trying to say cheese, and then it caught on like the wrong moment, exactly the wrong moment for her to be like cheese, and it hit on the zoot. So she wasn't smiling anymore. I liked that. It was good. And then we continued on to, I believe, make rations. Mm-hmm. They found potato and some sugar and some flour, and they mixed them all up, made this kind of dough type stuff.
Yeah, because at first I forgot that they used sugar, and I was like, oh, they're like making French fries. Like, no, they're using sugar. It's like, I don't even know what you'd even call that or compare it to.
Rations, I guess.
I don't know what kind of rations you're eating.
Ones with a lot of flour and potato, I guess. Yeah, it was that was an interesting episode. They found a factory that had the resources for it, so they were able to make some rations. I was upset at this point in the show though, because there are moments where they were like trying to lighten the mood a bit.
Yeah.
And they did not fucking work for me. So Chi is on this conveyor belt and she was checking stuff out. I think it was Chi. Maybe it was you. I don't remember. And then the other one is turning it on and it's like opening up into a big old like crusher incinerator thing. And the other one's running on it. And instead of like diving off to the side or anything, they're like, whew. And then they just keep standing there. And then it gets turned back on. And it's just like, all right, that's not working for me this episode. Sorry, guys. That's not the kind of comedy I'm in for, where you're almost killing the only person that you care about in this world. Like,
yeah.
That's not funny to me. I could see some people thinking it's funny, but to me, it was more like, I want to believe this world. I'm so interested in it, and you're taking me out of it, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I can see that. If
it's more about the characters, stuff like that's fun. Where you're just like, oh, this is a classic goof from this character. And we know that it's a classic goof because they're siblings or whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot more importance in this world that they shouldn't do that. I don't know. I just felt like, ugh, no.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of like a poorly done joke. Like, they could have done it a little bit differently and it would have been funny.
That's how I felt.
But... Yeah.
And then let's see. So they make some rations. Then I don't remember the next order of the episodes. At this point,
they meet the second person.
Already?
I think so,
Oh, like
yeah.
episode 6? All right, cool. And then they meet the second person. I don't remember her name. Ishi. I do remember her name. It's Ishi. I remembered it on my own.
First try.
Who really wants to make planes. And she's made like a little test plane to like send out a scaled model. She's like, all right, I'm going to make this real ass plane. And then the girls find her and they're like, oh shit, you're doing some wild stuff. And she's like, yeah, you have to help me. And they're like, all right, cool, let's do it. And they help her out. And then she makes the plane. And then it doesn't work.
Nope.
And she jumps out of it and she parachutes down. She's like, well, that fucking sucks, but whatever. Back to square one. And they're like, wow. All right, bye.
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt like it was so nothing. They didn't gain anything from it.
No, not at all.
It didn't add anything else to the world other than this woman wants to fly, just like everyone else has wanted to. And now she knows like certain designs and has different resources. So she's smart and knows certain things, but she's just so focused on this that she's like gone a little bit fucking crazy and she's obsessed over it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't believe that because they don't give me enough of the characters for me to be like, oh yeah, this chick's definitely deranged.
Yeah.
You know? It was...
Yeah, and then, like, the other kind of, like, weird thing was, like, I guess, like, they showed her that she was, like, you know, smiling and happy and content with, like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, I tried this. Yeah, I didn't do it right, but I'll try again or whatever. And they're like, oh, you know, with the way she's parachuting, she's going to go all the way down to the bottom floor because the way in this world, I guess there's levels.
This is the first part we learn about levels.
And that just, like, I was just like, I don't understand how they managed to build levels, like, all the way up that high.
Dunno.
And there was some architecture, like, throughout the show that I was just like, that's so bizarre. Because there's, like, these, like, basically housing units that are, like, basically, like, almost on, like, sticks.
Yeah.
And I was just like, they just look like popsicles.
It's interesting, though. I really liked that, seeing the different designs in this world. It was intriguing. But we didn't see enough. We didn't get to learn enough about all of it. Our characters didn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff.
No, not at all.
Which is a shame. Instead, you just have one who's like, let's just take pictures and, like, every once in a while I'll say something about how humans used to do stuff like worship at a temple.
One of the things I also found kind of bizarre is like when they like search like different like housing areas and stuff like that, was that like you would think in like a post-war like nothing would be as completely empty like in those houses as they were.
Right. Yeah.
But for the most part, like all of the houses were like completely empty. There wasn't like an empty bookshelf or there wasn't like a bed frame. Like they managed to find one place that had 2 arm couches.
Yeah.
But they searched for a while before they found those.
That's
and it's
true.
like how is there not like more remnants of furniture anywhere?
It's hard, man. It's weird when you see this world and this unique build to everything, and then it's not as fleshed out as you wished it was. It's just, they did a lot of interesting things that they didn't follow through with in the ways that I would have expected. One thing, I actually mixed up the episodes. Ishi came after the cooking. I was just looking up what there was because I couldn't remember everything exactly because it's just such a chill little show to watch. There was an episode just before it where they're kind of just taking shelter. They're trying to sleep and stuff, but it's raining outside and that's why they don't want to be out there. Yeah. And I fucking loved this episode actually. Only because I love the sound of rain and it's super relaxing to me. And like essentially Yu gets really into it and notices that Rain's tapping down on this like little metal tin or something. So Yu goes around and gets a bunch of other pieces of metal and makes it make all different kinds of sounds. And this is the point in the show where I realized, okay, the intro and the outro are great. And this song's fucking cool too. And they just have a bunch of cool little songs thrown in the show here and there. That's another huge strong point of the show is that they have these great musicians that come in and suddenly have this song. and it's just there for a minute, and it doesn't do much. It's just kind of around.
A little fun, creative snippet.
Yeah, but I really liked all the music in the show. I think that's the strongest, to me, that's the strongest point, is that all of the music was not the focal point at the most of the show. I don't really know how to put it, but the music that's there in the background fits really well. The score of the show is really good. And then when they do have those moments that become the focal point, they're good ass songs. I totally get it. So the song that happens in the rain, I really liked it. It was fun. Yeah, totally forgot about that episode. Not much happened. It was just, it sounded nice.
Yeah.
Is essentially it. I don't remember this next episode. It's got Memories, Spiral, and Moonlight.
Oh, this was I don't remember the memories bit, but the spirals when they're just literally driving in a circle, and then like there's a break in the road, right, and they have to go around, and then their vehicle's too heavy for it.
Mm-hmm. Which, whatever. That was some anime bullshit. Is that that didn't feel like a part of this world that would have actually worked out.
Yeah.
This felt like you's about to jump off of your vehicle in order to survive kind of thing. Instead, they were just like, or we could just keep driving.
Yeah.
Didn't really work for me. Didn't land right. But the next episode, I do remember pretty well. It's the one where they come to this building, this factory type place, and they quickly find a little like dog sized robot, like a small dog robot,
in a giant aquarium.
Yeah,
with a single fish. And
this robot's job is to protect the fish. This is the cool part of the show where we get to learn more about the world finally.
Yeah.
And it tells us a little bit about the robots and how each robot has been given a task and they have to fulfill that task. Mm-hmm. So he's just always been protecting the fish, and they talk to the robot and they're able to ask it questions about things, and it has answers. And it's kind of just our source of information that's incredibly valuable to me as a viewer. I fucking love it. And then they have giant robots that are trying to tear everything down.
Yep.
So
dismantle.
The plot of this is Yu wants to eat the fish, and then she winds up being like, I respect the fuck out of this fish. I like this fish now. I'm going to kill this giant robot.
To protect that fish. And
then she does. It was an interesting episode. I liked it. And I think sometime around here, they go off a little bit more, and then they find this creature.
Yes.
It might have been the next episode.
A little pill with legs.
It kind of looks like a ferret. They're at first seeing it, and they're like, what was that? Was that a cat? I think that was a cat. And they try to capture it and like find out what it is. And it's just this weird, gooey looking, oblong, pale creature. It's got some goofy eyes. Mm-hmm. And then it's talking through their radio. So they're like, is this a cat? And they're saying like Neko. And it's trying to repeat back what they're saying.
Yeah.
But it can't say it right. It doesn't understand them, or it's just bad at pronouncing it. And it says like Nako or something like that. And that means cut. Mm-hmm. So they name it, oh, okay, your name's Cut. Instead of Cat, which I thought was either a real thing, which would be cool, or it's a fake thing that they did for translating, which clever, but like I kind of wish it was the real translation. What do you think it was? I don't know.
I think it was a real translation.
You do?
Yeah.
I hope it was. Just the fact that
I choose
cat
to
and cut.
believe.
That's
in this
true.
household, we believe.
All right. In this household, we believe that it was a real ass translation. So this little fella, Cut, is able to communicate through radio waves and radio frequencies. And then they go on a little bit further, and it activates this like computer system, essentially. It can use itself to turn on electric powered things.
Yeah. So. With this part, like I liked this little creature thing. I thought it was fun, but I also feel like it was a little too like, I don't know.
Convenient?
I felt too convenient for me.
I liked the idea that it existed. I don't like that it hung out with them because I didn't understand why it would hang out with them.
Yeah.
But essentially, they go to this like war room, and it's powered the building at this point. Mm-hmm. And this is, I think, where the show finally brought me in a little bit more than it had the rest of it. So Yu is excited about it. She sits in this chair and she hits a button, and then a rocket goes shooting out of her robots from somewhere that she told to shoot it. And the rocket shoots off, and then it crashes in the earth. And it turns out it was a missile, and it fucking explodes everything. Mm-hmm. It's a very large explosion. And Chi is like, yo, that's fucking wild. Let's not do that anymore because we don't want to destroy all this shit. And Yu's like, but it's fun. So I'm going to press the button again. She hits another one, and it shoots this laser that's fucking huge.
Yeah, giant beam.
It incinerates everything. So now everything is on fire, if not already destroyed and melted. And everything around them is just burning now. Cut's feeling like worried about stuff suddenly, and Chi is devastated, gets mad at Yu, and Yu actually feels bad about how much destruction she just did.
Yeah.
But I like the snippet into what possibly happened at the end of the world for most people.
Yeah. Well, because, like, one of the interesting weird things after she blew shit up was that it activated a sprinkler system, essentially, in this world. Because, like, and then it made me wonder, like, is it just, like, a fake world? Or is it just because we're at a certain level? And so this level has, like, a sprinkler system to put out fires, but, like, if you get to the top, it doesn't have that kind of thing or something. And so I thought that part was, like, interesting, but also weird. I was like, I don't understand this.
I would like more explanation, of course, but I loved seeing, oh, man. So they absolutely devastated this Earth. Mm-hmm. Humans are terrifying. They go on a little bit further to... Finally, like, I think that was the second to last episode.
Yeah.
They've been listening to this this kind of song come over their radio every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And...
making them sad.
It sounds kind of somber, but it sounds pretty. And Cut is able to locate exactly where the frequency is coming from. So they follow it for a while and get to this little, like...
It looks like a submarine.
Yeah, it's some kind of like a tanker thing. And they climb up into it, and they're checking it out. And then I think at this point, Cut powered the place. No, it was already powered on. Yeah, but Cut was able to help them access their camera's memory. Mm-hmm. So they got to see all these different pictures and video clips from the past world from all the different people that have used this camera, which has been a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm just like, how fucking big is this camera's memory that it has all this shit from way back when?
It's big. It's fucking huge. We don't know what the world is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the excuse, like, I gave myself. I was like, to me, that doesn't make sense for, like, this world, because that's, like, near impossible unless you uploaded it to the cloud or something like that, and you're able to connect the cloud to, like,
maybe
your camera or something like that.
Then again, you could get a terabyte micro SD card now, and that could hold, like, endless amounts of videos and pictures that we could have seen in there. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, because I mean, like, I understand that, like, this is similar to our, like, world, but obviously different.
In some way or another. It's more advanced.
Yeah, we don't have those little dog robot things or anything like that. But, yeah, so I understood that it was different, but for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, to me, it seemed, like, impossible to have that much on that camera.
But it was cool. I really, really liked all the different snippets of the world that we got to see.
Yeah.
It was interesting. And Yu suddenly took a very strong interest in it when she saw this group of 3 girls kind of talking about their experiment that they wanted to do, and they were schoolgirls, and they kind of argued a little bit. And then she watched all these other videos and just absorbed everything. And she was like, I finally understand, like, why you appreciate people so much, Chi. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'm like, if Chi's fucking like people so much, why didn't you try to hang out with the other 2 people that you came across?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's the part where I was like, I don't fucking believe this show one bit, dude. It made me, it rubbed me the wrong way.
We'll see.
But
she
it was so cool.
appreciates them, but she doesn't care about them.
I guess that's true. I'm not looking to like
I appreciate the rain, but I don't like how cold it gets. It makes me.
Yeah, I feel that. I get you. But then we go from this to you gets eaten by a giant monster.
A giant version of the little pill leg boy.
No legs this time, just a big old Slurpee.
Yeah.
So she gets slurped on up and gets eaten and dragged away. And Chi is freaking out. Cut's kind of freaking out. And they go and find her on top of the tanker now.
Gonna go kill that motherfucker.
They were about to cut a dude in half in order to get their friend back. But then Yu's just kind of popping out of the weasel thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you doing? She's like, hang on. And she just pops out of it. Like, I'm just hanging out. Everything's good now. And then these things, there are more of them now. And they explain, yeah, we just eat like electric shit and like violent shit. So, gasoline and bullets and batteries and all of that.
Yeah.
We just ate that one thing that she was carrying. She's like, it's true. They did eat it. Like, okay. And then they started talking about kind of how they know the world is going to end and there's no hope for it. Mm-hmm. So they're just kind of there to clean it up before everything ends and starts over again.
Yeah, and they turned into like little mushroom people.
I really like the way that they looked, though. Their freaky oblong looks into lifting up their skin and turning it into a satellite radio wave frequency umbrella thing. It was really cool. Yeah. I liked that.
They just looked like mushrooms to me.
Yeah,
mushrooms
they became
faces.
Mushroom people. I liked the designs of these a lot because I've seen things like this. In fact, Pokemon has mushrooms that do that too. But I liked this more. I thought it was very, very different feeling than other iterations of mushrooms that like fold up their caps. It was cool. I liked that. And then it ended. That's essentially it. They start driving off again.
Yeah, the one thing that stuck out to me, like during that last episode, was the fact that when they were talking to the head mushroom girl, lady thing, was that like the way I understood it, because was she said to them that you are the last human people that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then so like that means that maybe she just didn't see, the other two people. I was like, but in my mind, I immediately thought, I was like, oh, what if these girls fucking killed those people when they launched that missile and that beam, and that's why they're the last two people on Earth because they fucking killed the other two people on Earth.
Honestly, I was like, I bet somebody died from that. Like,
yeah,
one person, we might not have met them, but somebody fucking died from that shit.
Definitely.
It was huge. And yeah, I definitely thought that same thing when they said like, oh yeah, y'all are the last two. I was like, in what context?
Yeah.
But
so
whatever.
I was like, do you know something we don't know? Like they fucking killed those other two people, or you just haven't seen them, and then these are just the last two people that you've ever seen since you've been around here? Or
it's weird, man.
Yeah. So like I believe that they fucking killed those two people with
I think that's
destroying that, because like
good way to think of it.
Whether they got hit with like the actual like the beam
missile,
or the missile, but like if they were on a lower floor, then all of that debris could have just smashed them also.
Totally. And we know that one of them was down at the lowest floor.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting show. I had a good time with it while it was around. But it wasn't the best time while I was watching it. I was never like, oh, this is the most unique thing that I've seen. Really, the mushroom people was the best part for me. It was interesting. There were a lot of good ideas and things that happened in it that I could appreciate and respect. But not enough of the show was something where I could really recommend it to somebody. Unless I said, oh, yeah, if you want to like know what we're talking about this week on this episode, you should watch Girls Last Tour. Yeah. Which I only told like a couple of people. And was only like, you should watch it because I'm talking about it. I have never seen it yet, so.
Yeah, because my my favorite part was probably the mushroom people. Also,
Yeah.
I also liked the visual in the temple with like the glass,
Oh, it was cool.
water and the glass fish and
Yeah.
all that stuff. That was a really cool visual. But like, I really liked the mushroom people at the end, but like, it also like, I don't know, made me wonder like, where did these fucking things come from? Also,
Yeah. For the feeling that I got, because they just kind of floated into the sky, I was like, so are they from another planet or the moon or
are they
God?
are they from another planet, or were they created by humans, or did they actually like go into the sky and go into outer space, or did they just go to the very top level that the girls haven't reached yet?
So yeah, exactly. Lots of questions, but my assumption is there's some kind of otherworldly beings that come around during the end of days, kind of thing. That's why there was this temple with all of them around and all the statues of things that looked like them and stuff like that. I'm like, well, if it wasn't in the temple episode, who knows? But my idea is they floated off into the fucking ethereal plane or something like that. There's something that's not from this world.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. I liked it. Wouldn't recommend it.
No,
so stay away from this one unless you've got nothing else to watch and want to understand what we went through and what we experienced. You could watch Girls Last Tour. That's the only time that I'll recommend it to somebody that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Or if you want to just have something in the background and take a little nappy nap.
But the thing about that is, if it's in English, sure. I tried to switch it over to English. There's no English option. Because I definitely felt like, oh, this will be a good nappy nap show. But it's in Japanese, so you got to read it unless you speak Japanese. I guess if you speak Japanese and you want a super chilled, like, downtime show, watch this. It was all right. It was all right.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like, I feel like even without listening to it, like, it's not that hard to follow along with everything that's going on. Because you could look down and then you look up and like, oh, they're making
changed.
Food now. Okay.
Yeah. Just very, very little things that don't impact much. Them making the food, they did bring it along and they had it in cans and like that was the interesting stuff. Them filling up their oil or their gas can or whatever. I liked those moments where you get to see that these things stick around, that they do have an impact on their survival.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a whole lot of that.
No.
They didn't have to do any maintenance of their vehicle ever. It was somehow impervious. They just gave it some gas. And
like, I think one of the things that also kind of threw me, because to me, like, in a lot of the other like apocalyptic type of shows that I've seen, like, the characters are always very like kind of like territorial and stuff like that. So then like any time that they like left their vehicle for a huge amount of time, I'm just like, what if you get back and it's like fucking gone? What are you gonna fucking do?
Exists.
I know, like, I understand that, but like it's still like in my head. I was like, what the fuck are you gonna do if like some random person just happens to come by?
Yeah. I guess they're fucked. Whatever. It was all right.
Those parts stressed me out. I was like, I'd never fucking leave that behind.
You were getting stressed over here while I'm like, all right, let's see what's in this factory. Yeah, let's fuck around for a while. I'm cool with that.
I'd be like, nope. I'd be like, you can go check it out. I'm sitting in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't have anything else I want to say about this. I feel like we covered pretty much the whole show. We really tried to give it our own run, but just it's not for us.
No.
Not at all. But oh well.
Too chill for my liking.
When are you going to be on our podcast next?
I don't know.
Never?
It's a mystery.
Okay. So maybe never, maybe sometime later.
Yeah. New year, new podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just tune in next week on Friday when Kyle and I come out with our hentai episode.
You guys are doing Friday hentai episodes? Is that what's happening? Man, I can't wait for that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. I had a great time experiencing this very weird show and getting to talk about it with somebody. It was something else. It was a different experience than I've had with pretty much any other show. Kind of Mushishi-esque, but Mushishi had a lot more going on with a lot more threat. So
yeah,
learn it.
I think it was good that it was only 12 episodes.
Didn't need to be more. But
they probably could have condensed it down further than that, but I'm glad it was not more than 12.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like each moment that we had in the show could have had an impact, but not everything did. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Next week, who knows what we're doing, because we don't ever fucking know. It's going to be something. We're for sure watching a show or movie or live action something. We'll talk about it next week. If you like our logo, hit up Turvy Tops on turvytops.com. She does a bunch of cool different artwork you could check out there. And then if you like our theme song, hit up Tom Nasser on YouTube and SoundCloud. That's Nasser, Nasr. Sierra, where can people find us?
People can find us on Facebook, which is the Instant Ramen Podcast, on Instagram, which is also the Instant Ramen Podcast, and YouTube, also Instant Ramen Podcast, Spotify, same. And then the only same but different is Twitter, which is Instant Ramen Pod.
Because podcast didn't fit.
Hell yeah. And then you can always shoot Trip or Juan a fun email and make them laugh and giggle, put a smile on their face at instantramenpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. So thank you one last time, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Sierra, for joining me. I really appreciate you coming in clutch, even though Juan said, oh, yeah, I could totally do it. I'm like, yeah, no, Sierra's going to be on this episode. It'll be fine. And it was. So thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Hey, Sierra, don't forget.
Just add hot water.